After being persuaded by Yang Sin and Liu Keiran, Liang Yu gradually regained her spirit. She no longer acted impulsively, did not take a knife to find the Yangsheng base and risk her life, but decided to discuss thoroughly with Zhang Yi about how to save people. After the conversation with Liang Yu, Zhang Yi decided to wait for a proactive contact from the Yangsheng base. Not long after, Zhang Yi received a request for a conversation from them. This time it was a video call. When Yang Sin called Zhang Yi into the control room, she closed the door, leaving only the two of them in the conversation. When Zhang Yi connected for the first time, he saw that the person on the other side was not the leader of the Yangsheng base, Xiao Hong Lian, but a tall, thin man with cold eyes. The man spoke, "Zhang Yi, a day has passed. I wonder what you have thought. Today, I am contacting you to give you a gift to help you make a quick decision." Huge King Ting smiled coldly, then introduced a video into the conversation, showing the execution of Hao Cheng Yu and others. Zhang Yi stood with his arms crossed, silently watching the video, his face showing no emotion. After watching, he calmly asked, "Are they still alive?" His cold attitude surprised Huge King Ting. Yesterday, when talking on the phone, Zhang Yi was very concerned about the lives of the students. But today, his attitude and tone were completely different, showing bluntness and contempt. Huge King Ting spoke in a serious voice. "They are still alive for now, but it's unclear how much longer they can hold out. Zhang Yi, our leader, has changed his mind. Keeping these useless people is just a waste of food, so we have decided to return them to you. In exchange, we request 1 ton of food for each person." In response to Huge King Ting's unreasonable demand, Zhang Yi remained thoughtful. "It can be negotiated, but first, I need to confirm that those people are still alive. If not, after delivering the supplies, won't I just end up with a pile of corpses?" Huge King Ting thought to himself that many students had died and the remaining ones were barely alive. If Zhang Yi saw them, he would refuse the exchange condition. Nevertheless, he still tried to say, "The people you see are doing well." Zhang Yi replied decisively, "I want to see the living ones right now. Take me to see them. If they are alive, I will arrange for food immediately." Huge King Ting stared at the screen, continuing to pretend. "The Yangsheng base does not play unfair games. We don't need their lives, so why kill them? Your concern is unnecessary." Zhang Yi raised his hand and replied, "If that's the case, why not let me take a look, just one look?" However, Huge King Ting didn't let him see for fear. He would immediately recognize it. Zhang Yi felt no sincerity from Huge King Ting. When the other person was about to say more, Zhang Yi ended the call. He turned to Yang Sin, affirming that they were dead. Huge King Ting's actions have proven that. Yang Sin curiously asked, "Boss, how did you do that?" Zhang Yi replied nonchalantly, "I added a bit of technology and cruelty to their food." Yang Sin breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. "That's great. This way, everyone won't get involved." Zhang Yi ruffled her hair and instructed, "For the next 2 days, take care of Liang Yu a bit. Help her build a strong mindset. Don't let her think negatively. Women need care and comfort." Yang Sin looked at Zhang Yi playfully. "Actually, when the boss shows up directly, it will be more effective than me." Zhang Yi frowned. "You mean I should open up to her?" Yang Sin smiled. "It will definitely work. When it comes to killing, psychological tactics must be used." Zhang Yi humorously replied, "But I fear it will make me look foolish." Then he added, "Remember to keep this conversation a secret. Don't tell anyone." Yang Sin nodded. "Don't worry, boss, I understand." In the following days, Refuge remained as peaceful as ever. The women played mahjong together, chatting about trivial matters. They tried to involve Liang Yu in the conversation to help her relieve her sadness. The men maintained a relaxed attitude, but were not negligent, preparing for the outbreak of war. As the defensive side, they were well prepared in advance, with little left to improve. At the Yangsheng base, the toxins in the students' bodies had fully manifested, and all of them ended their lives in pain. Huge King Ting reluctantly sought out Xiao Hong Lian to report. "Now, everyone is dead. We have lost our trump card in front of Zhang Yi to suppress him." Xiao Hong Lian frowned. Although she had anticipated this possibility, she was still unsatisfied. She looked up, her sharp gaze fixed on Huge King Ting. "So apart from war, we have no other choice." 2 days later, Zhang Yi received news from the Yangsheng base. This time it was not an invitation to chat, but a video. He and Yang Sin were the first to see this video. When they opened the video, a heavy scene unfolded before them. The backdrop was a large factory framed in a snowstorm. Hanging from it were cold heads suspended by wires. Xiao Hong Lian stood before the execution platform, staring disdainfully into the camera and spoke coldly. "Blood for blood, tooth for tooth. Zhang Yi, this is just the beginning." Soon, your head and the heads of your friends will also be hanging on the execution platform of the Yangsheng base. The video ended there. In that brief moment, the video conveyed a clear message, a declaration of war. Xiao Hong Lion had taken the heads of all the students to declare war. After watching the video, Zhang Yi remained silent for a moment, then raised his hand to sip some hot coffee. In the end, they finally died, he said calmly, so everything has been resolved neatly. Yang Xin let out a sigh of relief. Finally, everything has come to an end. Zhang Yi looked at Xin and smiled, asking, "You used to hate them a lot, didn't you? Now that they are dead, aren't you happy?" Yang Xin shook her head. "It's hard to say if I'm happy or sad. I really hated them and wish they would disappear from this world. But seeing them die like this, I still feel a little mournful." She bowed her head, her small pale hands tightly gripping her dress. "I fear that one day my head will be chopped off and hung up like that." A hint of astonishment flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes, but he quickly understood. No matter how smart and cunning Yang Xin was, she was still just an 18-year-old girl. Seeing peers she had lived with for many years dying one after another, the fear in her heart was only natural. Zhang Yi stepped forward and embraced her with his strong arms. "Don't worry, I'm here and I won't let Xin die. Since I won't die, you will definitely live healthy. Yang Xin is his important support, so Zhang Yi will definitely protect her to the end." The young man added, "I will take good care of you, ensuring you don't suffer any harm." With warm affection, Zhang Yi helped Xin regain warmth for her body. She looked at him, her eyes gradually becoming moist. "Boss, it's really good to have you here. Xin will not become a burden for you. She will become someone useful for you. So please never abandon Xin, okay? If one day Xin becomes a burden for you, she will resolve it herself." After comforting Yang Xin, Zhang Yi decided to release the video for everyone, especially Liang Yu, so she could see the truth clearly. He wanted Liang Yu to give up all hope and obsession in her heart. However, Zhang Yi was also worried about whether she could handle seeing this scene. Yang Xin reminded him, "Boss needs to prepare mentally." Zhang Yi replied, "Don't worry, I am not only preparing mentally but also practically." He thought to himself, if Liang Yu can't bear it and wants to find Yang Sheng to take risks, he would directly control her, using tranquilizers to let her rest for a while. Because all acts of sacrifice stem from emotions, no matter how noble the ideals are, it can change. Ultimately, Zhang Yi believed that she would realize that survival is the most important thing. The purpose of life is merely to survive, requiring no other reason. Zhang Yi took a small packet of medicine from his bag and handed it to Yang Xin. "Put this in the coffee and make Liang Yu drink it," he instructed. Yang Xin asked with suspicion, "What is this?" "Medicine to stabilize her mood," Zhang Yi replied. Yang Xin seemed to understand and said, "We will also try to persuade her." Zhang Yi had calculated the timing in his mind. When he was sure the medicine had taken effect, he called everyone together. Before playing the video, he reminded them, "The content of this video may be a bit gruesome. I hope everyone is mentally prepared and tries not to get too agitated." Hearing this, Liang Yu began to feel uneasy. She thought to herself, since this video was sent from the Yangsheng base, could it be related to her students? Zhang Yi glanced at Liang Yu and then played the video. The first scene that appeared was a dozen heads hanging in the air. When Liang Yu saw that scene, her mind felt like it was about to explode and then became empty. She told herself, "Have all of my students really died?" Realizing that all of her students were dead, Liang Yu's world spun. Her legs wobbled, and the faint voices of others echoed in her ears. "Liang Yu, what's wrong? Are you okay?" Then her vision went dark and she fell to the ground, losing consciousness. Zhao Kaini worriedly asked, "Liang Yu, are you okay?" Yang Mai also panicked. "Liang Yu, are you all right?" Zhang Yi approached calmly and said, "It's nothing. She just needs to take a little tranquilizer, a bit of rest, and she'll be fine." Uncle Wang couldn't help but sigh. Miss Liang is a dedicated and good teacher. This is a big shock for her. I hope she will have a broader perspective and not dwell too much on the past. Zhang Yi helped Liang Yu to his room and placed her on the bed. He turned to Yang Xin and Lu Qiran and said, "Time will ease the pain. In the next 2 days, take care of her and help her stabilize her emotions." He reminded Zhao Kaini again, administer tranquilizers to her to stabilize her mood. If necessary, increase the dosage. I would rather have her rest for a few days than let her cause chaos. Zhao Kaini nodded, understood. After arranging everything for Liang Yu, everyone returned to the living room. Zhang Yi began discussing with everyone about confronting the Yangsheng base. "We cannot avoid the battle with Yangsheng. There is a possibility that the Zhao Yu base will also join them. If we face two large bases, the pressure on our defense will be immense. According to the plan, we will rely on the first line of defense and retreat to refuge if this line is breached. However, these two bases are not like Haksai-shan. They have no reason to die with us. As long as they inflict certain losses, they will withdraw. In essence, there won't be too many difficulties. Furthermore, our armed forces have also been significantly reinforced compared to before. That's why Zhang Yi does not feel panicked. Even though he has killed Xiao Hong Lian's cousin and wife Dinghai, the death of a few people is not enough to lead to a life and death confrontation. This war is truly about territorial disputes. A few days later, an old man in a red coat, with his face covered, appeared from afar in the snowstorm, walking towards the refuge. Though he did not walk quickly, he moved very steadily. Despite looking old, his footsteps were deeply imprinted in the snow, leaving clear marks. Facing the snow and wind, the old man raised his head and looked ahead, his sad gray eyes flashing with a strange circle of golden light. Suddenly, his body shivered slightly. In his eyes appeared a vast aura that enveloped the sky of refuge with a magnificent power. It obscured the entire sky of the sanctuary. Zhao Yuding was surprised and thought to himself, "What is this? Besides that person, are there any other mutant beings as powerful as this? Could he be a deity?" This person is the great ordinance of the worship of the snow sect, Zhao Yuding. His superpower is the aura of authority, which allows him to see the aura of each individual, especially mutant beings. The more intense and brilliant the aura, the stronger and more limitless the potential of that mutant individual. Thanks to this ability, Zhao Yuding can represent the worship of the snow sect and cult leader Yuan Kong Yi to evangelize and recruit followers. He can see those with latent powers and those who have not yet awakened, making him a very important figure in the sect. The superpower of the Great Ordinance suddenly vanished. He took a deep breath and walked slowly, relying on his staff. Such an important discovery must be reported immediately to the cult leader and priest. At the Yangsheng base, Xiao Hong Lian decided to use the army to attack Zhang Yi's refuge. The official reason was to avenge her cousin and her subordinates, but the real purpose was to seize the Xishan and Lujiang areas in order to rob the rich resources. However, she also understood that she could not act recklessly with many strong enemies around. Splitting the troops also carried significant risks, and she was unsure about Zhang Yi's strength. She needed time to prepare, ensuring that once they attacked, it must be absolutely successful. Not long after, Assistant Shuge King Ting brought Xiao Hong Lian, a middle-aged man with a robust build. "Hello, leader, I am Wu Huai Ren. I used to be the security manager of Dragon War Company, and I participated in the project to build the shelter at Yunque Estate. In fact, I have met a man named Zhang Yi, as I helped build a secure building for him." If Zhang Yi were to meet Wu Huai Ren again, he would definitely recognize him, as he had once been the security manager of Dragon War Company, with experience in the army as a mercenary and a professional bodyguard. Xiao Hong Lian listened to Wu Huai Ren and curiously asked, "How do you know Zhang Yi?" Wu Huai Ren replied, "No, it was just a client company relationship, but I am also very familiar with his residence." Xiao Hong Lian was not very clear about the Yunque estate, so she asked, "Oh, is there anything different about it?" Wu Huai Ren elaborated on the situation of the shelter to Xiao Hong Lian. After listening, Xiao Hong Lian seemed to have an awakening. No wonder they could hold off the Xishan base's attack for over a month and still remain safe. It turns out you have created a shelter. This explains a lot. Wu Huai Ren added, "The Xishan base is unable to do anything against that shelter, but our Yangsheng base can destroy it. Leader, please assign me this mission." Wu Huai Ren did not want to miss the opportunity to earn credit. The Yangsheng base has a strict hierarchical system, with the higher ranks receiving better food, housing, and supplies. Xiao Hong Lian looked at him. "You know the weakness of that shelter, right?" Wu Huai Ren replied, "Dragon War Security is the top brand in the country, and they cannot interfere with customer accommodations. However, since we constructed the accommodations ourselves, I am familiar with its structure and materials. As long as we use a large construction vehicle, we can completely cut through that wall. Bringing a large construction vehicle from the Yangsheng base to the Lujiang area is not easy, but the Yangsheng base has no shortage of fuel and can afford this consumption. Furthermore, with Wu Huai Ren's understanding of the shelter's structure, cutting through the outer wall is entirely feasible." Xiao Hong Lian nodded very well. "This time, come with us. If we succeed, I will appoint you as the commander of a troop." Joy appeared on Wu Huai Ren's face. "Thank you, leader, for your grace." Xiao Hong Lian raised her hand to touch her face, her expression doubtful. "I still have one question. Even though the shelter is fortified and uses special materials, we can still create breaches with professional tools. Why has the Xishan base used explosives to destroy it? Why haven't they been able to do anything? The appearance of Wu Huai-ren pleased Xiao Hong Lan as she could gather more intelligence. However, doubts also arose within her. Although the Xishan base cannot use large specialized vehicles, they possess a large number of armed weapons, so why couldn't they do anything against a shelter? In this world, there is no fortress that cannot be breached, so why is Zhang Yi's shelter still safe? Xiao Hong Lion pondered for a moment before continuing to ask, is it true that the power of Zhang Yi and his allies is so strong that it makes the Xishan base difficult to approach? At this moment, Xiao Hong Lion couldn't afford to be careless. Without a clear understanding of the enemy's strength, any contemptuous action towards them could lead to deadly risks. She gestured for Wu Huai-ren to leave and prepare. After careful consideration, she decided that if there was danger, Yangsheng base could not bear it alone. It was necessary to involve other forces. This not only shared the risk, but also prevented them from attacking the base while Yangsheng was acting. Acting alone could monopolize the spoils, but a smart businessman should only reap limited benefits. Those who gamble with high risks and high rewards are merely gamblers, and the life of a gambler never ends well. Immediately, Xiao Hong Lion contacted Wai Dinghe, the leader of Zhao Yu base. They were strategic partners and had the closest relationship among the major forces in Tianhai City. After some polite words, Xiao Hong Lion directly stated her purpose. Zhang Yi is not as simple as we think. Previously, he was able to withstand the Xishan base for a long time. In the end, the Xishan base was destroyed, and I suspect it was caused by him. Neither of our houses dares to confront him directly, so why not cooperate? What do you think? Wai Dinghe had already sent people to investigate Zhang Yi, but they still could not determine the cause or dare to attack his shelter. Upon hearing Xiao Hong Lian's proposal, Wai Dinghe just sneered. Our two houses attacking may not be enough. If we want to fight, we have to involve everyone. The smile on Xiao Hong Lian's face became even more radiant as she said, we are all thinking of the same thing. Worship the Snow Sect and King Fu base. On one side is a powerful and dangerous cult organization, while on the other side is a strong force from the steel factory workers. The power of these two sides cannot be underestimated. If we take advantage of the moment they divide their forces to attack Zhang Yi and strike from behind, they will not be able to withstand it. Worship the Snow Sect has always been shunned by other forces in Tianhai, harboring long-standing grudges. Don't be fooled by their seemingly free demeanor. They do not dare to provoke anyone. But just like a dog that seldom barks bites, no one can be assured of them. Therefore, the best way is to pull all of them into this fight. Xiao Hong Lion continued, as long as our two sides form an alliance, convincing them to act with us will be simpler. I will take charge of the King Fu base, and you take care of Worship the Snow Sect. Is there any problem? Wai Dinghe, with a hesitant look, replied, this is easy enough. But if all four houses act together, the issue of territorial division afterward will be a big question. Xiao Hong Lian coldly laughed. The territory of Xishan base is so vast that no house can occupy it all. Right now, we still have to exert effort to stabilize our own territory. I don't care about other things, but the Lujiang area and the material and machinery factories there must belong to me. Wai Dinghe continued, we often operate at sea. Those things are not important to us, but we will need some additional food and fuel from you. After some negotiation, the two leaders reached a consensus. Thus, each side began to act according to the agreement, inviting the other two houses to join the fight against Zhang Yi. The King Fu area, located in the northwest of Tianhai City, was once a major center for farming, agriculture, and steel production. The refuge of King Fu was directly beneath the steel mill, and the staff at the base mainly consisted of agricultural workers and steel workers. Although they were not professional soldiers, the combat capability of these individuals was not to be underestimated. In a workshop of the steel mill, a man looking to be in his 30s was sitting and tearing off pieces of bread, while on the ground, two people were sitting like dogs. Upon closer inspection, one was a thin person, likely from Zhonghai, and the other had long hair and wore glasses. Both were shackled with heavy iron chains, squatting on the ground like dogs, wagging their tails in delight at their master. Every time the man threw a piece of food, they would fight over it, even lunging to bite at it with their mouths full of saliva. Observing this scene, the man smiled with satisfaction and said, Chief Liu, director's son, you two make great dogs. It's a pity you used to be human. Outside the workshop, a soldier in combat uniform approached. The blue emblem on his chest indicated that he was a member of the King Fu base. He glanced at the scene before him and couldn't help but chuckle silently. He reported, Leader, someone from the Yangsheng base is here to see you. The man feeding the dog looked up. Oh, Xiao Hong Lian, that woman is looking for me. What does she want? The subordinate replied, I've heard that she has something important to discuss with you, but we are not qualified to know the specifics. The boss of the King Fu base, Sing Tian, jumped down from the lead and said, "All right, let's go see what she wants." As he stepped outside, he saw a little girl squatting in the snow, holding a stick and drawing on the surface of the snow. In front of her was a gigantic white wolf, much larger than a typical dog, resembling a massive wild dog. However, at that moment, the wolf lay obediently in the snow, intently watching the girl write, appearing gentle and not at all aggressive. In fact, a naive and adorable expression shone in its eyes. When the wolf saw Sing Tian approach, it lifted its head and barked loudly. The girl in the snow also looked up, and upon seeing Sing Tian, a sweet smile appeared on her fair face. "Daddy." Sing Tian smiled as he approached, gently lifting the girl up and holding her tightly to protect her face from the cold. "Haven't I told you, if there's nothing to do, don't go outside? It's very cold out there. If you really want to go out, remember to wear your hat and scarf properly." The girl named Zhao Lingling is Sing Tian's adopted daughter. Her father had been a servant of Sing Tian but passed away in an accident a few years ago. Since then, Sing Tian has adopted her. Zhao Lingling sweetly smiled and said, "It's not cold at all. The steel factory is very warm." Sing Tian lightly pinched her small face. "If you catch a cold, you'll get into trouble." Then he set Zhao Lingling down in front of the large dog. "First, you play with Yu for a while. Dad has some work to do and I'll come back to you after." Zhao Lingling obediently nodded, then squatted down, continuing to write characters on the ground, and said to Yu, "This is number 1, this is number 2. The large dog Yu seemed very interested but looked confused. This game was truly hard for it to learn. Sing Tian entered the office. This had once been the area of the workshop manager, decorated beautifully, but in a luxurious and simple style. He stepped in leisurely and saw the information staff waiting. "Leader, they've been waiting for you a long time." Sing Tian walked over and sat down on the sofa. "If she wants to meet me, it's no problem to have her wait a bit." Even saying that, he still pressed the connect button. The screen of the communicator immediately displayed the beautiful face of Xiao Hong Lian. She frowned, clearly showing her impatience. "Sing Tian, finding you has not been easy, making us wait for so long." Sing Tian replied calmly, "No one can sit by the communicator all day. I just had something to deal with, so if you have something to say, just say it." Xiao Hong Lian went straight to the point. "The Xishan base has been destroyed. I wonder what your King Fu base thinks about that." Sing Tian raised an eyebrow slightly and responded naturally. "The northeastern area of Xishan borders us. I don't think you care much about that place. On the contrary, the territory is so vast that no one can conquer it all in a short time. Why don't we negotiate a way to share it with each other?" Xiao Hong Lian smiled. "That can be negotiated easily. But right now, there is an issue at hand. On the former territory of the Xishan base, there is a powerful force occupying it. If we don't eliminate them, none of us can pass through that area with peace of mind. They have eliminated my people and Weidinghei's people." Hearing this, Sing Tian's gaze became sharp. Is there really such a strong figure in Tianhai, daring to tear apart of the Xishan base and even willing to confront our 2 major bases? Xiao Hong Lian nodded. "There really are powerful people like that. We have investigated and they are not like the major forces but a small but elite group. Among them, there are quite a few mutant persons, and their strength is significant. They rely on refuge that can match a military fortress. Even the Xishan base cannot do anything to them." Sing Tian rubbed his chin, pondering the news he had just heard. The King Fu base, one of the major forces, always maintained a low profile and had never contacted Zhang Yi, so they were unaware of his existence. While gathering intelligence, Sing Tian began to formulate some hypotheses in his mind. He said, "Be careful with Xiao Hong Lian. If their strength is as strong as you say, we cannot attack carelessly. Fighting far from our territory will weaken our own strength by a third." Xiao Hong Lian continued, "Therefore, this time we invite you to cooperate to attack them. The Yangsheng base and the Zhao Yu base have both agreed to cooperate. If you agree, we will launch the attack together. As 3 allied factions, the Worship the Snow sect will also have to participate. With 4 allied factions, we will capture them and then share the entire area of Xishan and Lujia. What do you think?" Sing Tian felt more reassured hearing about the alliance plan of the 4 factions, but he wondered. Previously, the Xishan base had also confronted them, right? With such strong armed forces, we couldn't break their defenses. Can we succeed this time? Xiao Hong Lian had already prepared for this question. She replied, "Previously, we built a refuge right at the Yangsheng base. When the right time comes, I will have a way to break through their defenses and launch an attack." Sing Tian frowned, feeling that this plan was challenging. Currently, the four major forces in Tian High City are allied with each other. Is there anything we cannot conquer anymore? However, I need to think carefully about this. He stroked his chin in thought and continued. Moreover, I need you to provide detailed information about that refuge. Xiao Hong Lion nodded. That's not a problem. Think carefully, as this plan will bring great benefits to your King Fu base, and you will definitely not regret it. Think Tian did not make an immediate decision. As the leader of the King Fu base, each of his actions could affect the lives of thousands of workers and brothers at the base. He was not a person of extraordinary intelligence, but his strength lay in knowing himself well. Therefore, he thought carefully before each decision to avoid making mistakes. Not long after their conversation, Xiao Hong Lion sent Sing Tian intelligence related to the enemy's hideout. When he opened the information, the first glance left Sing Tian stunned. Then he sat up straight, focusing intently on the screen. The first piece of information was about Zhang Yi. Ting Tian exclaimed, his expression full of surprise. How could it be such a coincidence? After returning to worship the Snow Sect, the old man reported what he had seen to Yuan Kong Yi. She asked in surprise, Great Ordinance, what did you just say? He firmly asserted, Cult leader, I am loyal to you and to worship the Snow Sect. Please believe every word I say. In that mysterious hideout, there is a superpower that can be on par with you. Perhaps he is the right hand of the deity, capable of helping you succeed in great endeavors. After thinking for a moment, Yuan Kong Yi said, I understand now. Thank you for your hard work, Great Ordinance. You may go rest. After Great Ordinance left, Yuan Kong Yi said to Zhang Yixian, Everything seems to have changed. Zhang Yixian added, It seems that everyone has underestimated the strength of Zhang Yi and his team. If that's the case, even if we unite from all directions to attack that hideout, we may not be able to breach it. A thought suddenly flashed through Zhang Yixian's mind. But if we can unite with Zhang Yi to deal with the others, the situation would be fantastic. A daring idea sparkled in his eyes like a long-accumulated flame of hatred burning fiercely. The scene shifts to Zhang Yi's hideout. When he sees the new message, he is surprised. The three words, Sing Weinen, appear before him. Zhang Yi can't help but frown in recollection. How long has it been since we last kept in touch after graduating from middle school? He's still alive. Sing Weinen is a classmate from Zhang Yi's elementary and middle school days. They both lived in the same old apartment complex. Their relationship wasn't particularly close, but they attended the same class for 3 years and often played together. However, Sing Weinen's academic performance was not very good. After Zhang Yi moved to the Yulu apartment with his family, he rarely saw Sing Weinen again. It was said that later, Sing Weinen became a steelworker, following in his father's footsteps. Zhang Yi thought to himself, he's not dead. Seems like he has some skills. He noticed the message Sing Weinen sent, Old friend, long time, no see. Zhang Yi paced in the living room with his mobile phone in hand. In this tense moment, the sudden appearance of an old friend makes him suspicious of their intentions. But this is no longer the beginning of the apocalypse. Sing Weinen's appearance must have some special significance and is not merely for borrowing money or supplies. Perhaps due to having survived the apocalypse for too long, upon seeing his old friend again, Zhang Yi feels a bit moved. After a moment of contemplation, Zhang Yi decides to reply to the message, I'm still fine. What about you? Sing Weinen suddenly laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. Is that really you? You're still alive, huh? I didn't expect you to become so impressive. He continued. But I'm not doing too bad either. Now I'm the head of the largest steel factory in Tian High City. So what do you think, my old classmate? Not too shabby, right? In Sing Weinen's words, there was an excitement that was hard to express. It felt like he had just discovered a new land. However, when Zhang Yi read these messages, he felt that something was wrong. Isn't the largest steel factory in Tian High the one in King Fu District? Could it be that Sing Weinen has become the head there? Zhang Yi's eyes narrowed as he stared at his phone and replied, Are you now the boss of the King Fu base? Just a moment later, Sing Weinen sent a reply. Writing is too troublesome. You know my education level isn't high. Let's talk through voice. After saying this, Sing Weinen sent a request for a voice chat. Zhang Yi frowned and pressed the answer button. Isn't the leader of the King Fu base named Sing Tian? What's going on? Did you change your name? Sing Weinen smiled and said, I think the name Sing Weinen is not impressive enough. Not enough to intimidate others, so I changed my name. Don't you think the name Sing Tian sounds very majestic? Zhang Yi smiled faintly. The fact that someone changes their name to seek confidence often only proves that they are very lacking confidence inside. Based on the information Zhang Yi gathered, Sing Tian possesses extremely powerful superpowers, which is the foundation for his successful rise to power. Zhang Yi can understand the mentality of newly wealthy individuals like Sing Weinen. Go ahead, suddenly contacting me. What do you want to discuss? Zhang Yi's attitude caused Sing Weinan on the other end of the phone to fall silent for a moment. Zhang Yi thought to himself that it might be better to address him as Sing Tian. After all, he is now a significant figure. People like him never like to mention their past poverty, including their old name. Sing Tian laughed heartily. I thought I would have a chance to talk for a long time with you. Looking back to our school days, I wasn't anything special. Unlike you, who had a beautiful figure, was liked by many girls, and had fairly good academic results. At this point, he sighed. Who would have thought that one day I would also soar like a kite in the wind, right, old classmate? Zhang Yi chuckled lightly, showing little concern for Sing Tian's attitude. Most people who go from rags to riches too quickly tend to have such a mindset. He said to Sing Tian, we can talk about the past slowly later, but I'm sure you didn't come to find me just to reminisce, right? My curiosity is quite large, so feel free to bluntly state your purpose. On the other end of the phone, Sing Tian frowned. Zhang Yi's attitude did not give him the sense of satisfaction he had expected. He hoped to hear Zhang Yi's astonishment, such as, you became the director of the King Fu Steel Mill, or, I can't believe you weren't outstanding in our class back then. How did you suddenly rise like this? But Zhang Yi did not react as Sing Tian had anticipated, leaving him feeling disappointed. Sing Tian sat up straight, his tone becoming serious. All right, let's get to the main issue. Zhang Yi, didn't you kill people from the Yangsheng base and the Zhao Yu base before? Now they are determined to deal with you. Moreover, it's not just those two families. For safety reasons, they have also invited us and the Worship the Snow sect to join in. If all four of our families attack you at the same time, you might be in big trouble. A sharp light flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. All four families. He had no conflict with the Worship the Snow sect or the King Fu base. The alliance of the Yangsheng base and the Zhao Yu base did not surprise him, but he did not expect this time the alliance would include all the top forces in Tianhai City. If so, the pressure they would face would increase exponentially. Zhang Yi felt anxious, but given this difficult situation, Zhang Yi remained calm and asked, so you are here to declare war on me? Sing Tian replied with a slight smile, my old classmate, what era are we living in now? Who still talks about declaring war? If I really wanted to fight you, it would definitely be a surprise attack. The reason I came to see you this time is, 1, to reminisce, and 2, to reconsider our past feelings and discuss something with you. He recalled his school days with poor grades and no luck with women, feeling quite isolated among his classmates. Back then, Zhang Yi did not belittle him and even helped him with solving problems. Now that he has succeeded, Sing Tian wants to help his old classmate, showcasing his success. Zhang Yi asked, what do you want to discuss? Please tell me. Sing Tian answered, the King Fu based and you have no grudges against each other. I might not participate in this war, but you need to come up with reasonable conditions. The King Fu based does not want war. The entire workforce of the steel factory prefers a peaceful life, and their current situation is quite good. But once war breaks out, there will definitely be casualties, something they do not wish to face. If you want us not to join this war, you at least need to provide 10,000 kilograms of food. Zhang Yi furrowed his brows. 10,000 kilograms of food. Zhang Yi fell into deep thought. He remembered that Sing Tian's academic performance had always been poor, especially in math, where he rarely scored above 60 points out of 150 in exams. Would Sing Tian consider 10,000 kilograms of food a large amount? Is this the confidence of a rising student? Zhang Yi didn't underestimate Sing Tian, but in his warehouse, just by searching a few shelves, he already had more than 10,000 kilograms of food. Zhang Yi said to Sing Tian, I need to think about this. After all, your request is for a lot of food, so I need some time. Sing Tian replied, okay, I will give you a day to consider, no more. Please answer me before noon tomorrow. He took a deep breath. Old classmate, you should agree. Otherwise, I really don't want to meet you on the battlefield. I understand, and let's make a temporary agreement. The conversation between Zhang Yi and Sing Tian came to an end. Zhang Yi leaned back on the soft sofa, the warm and gentle light from the lamp casting a glow over him. The young man began to think. 10 tons of food wasn't much for him. He could take it from the Taishan base's warehouse or give him canned goods. Zhang Yi suddenly remembered. Oh, right, there's also Wang Siming's warehouse. The canned food that hasn't been used up, the heavy stuff is filled with provisions. Gathering enough 10 tons would be difficult. The issue of supplies was easily resolved for Zhang Yi, but the young man was worried about whether he could trust Sing Tian. He doesn't need to use this warehouse. If he weren't worried about dangers from the outside, he could go with Chun Lei to search for supermarkets buried under the snow to excavate and transport. But Zhang Yi doesn't want to be left with no results. It has been a long time since he last saw Sing Tian, and people can change easily. Zhang Yi carefully considers his strategy. I can agree, but only if part of the deposit is paid in advance. When the war is over, if the King Fu base meets my expectations, I will pay the remaining amount. This conversation with Xing Tian is a surprise for Zhang Yi. However, it provides the young man with extremely important information. First, Zhang Yi's refuge may face an alliance attack from the four most powerful forces in Tianhai City. Second, this attack will occur in a short time. Zhang Yi is quite confident about the defensive capability of his refuge. These four houses do not have a character like Shen Xiran. They cannot dig up a missile to destroy the space below the third floor of the refuge. Moreover, the conflict between them and Zhang Yi is not deep enough to warrant killing. If the benefits do not outweigh the risks, they will choose to abandon the attack. Zhang Yi thinks logically, preparing for the worst-case scenario. Then, a brutal battle to shake the entire force in Tianhai City might result in peace. The young man decides to cooperate with the King Fu base. In the living room, a quick meeting took place. Zhang Yi gathered everyone together and announced the basic situation. When they learned that they would face an attack from the alliance of the four major forces, everyone's expression became extremely serious. The pressure this time could be more terrifying than when fighting against the Xishan base before. However, Yang Sin calmly said, I don't think the situation is as bad as it seems. These four forces may be allied, but in reality, there is mutual caution among them. Only Yang Sheng and Zhao Yu are the two bases that have conflicts with us. The Worship the Snow Sect and the King Fu base have also only been pulled into this. Since there is no fundamental conflict, they will hesitate when attacking and may not exert their full strength, not causing casualties for us. If we can convince the King Fu base not to participate in the battle, our pressure will be reduced. Everyone nodded, agreeing that Yang Sin's words were reasonable. Uncle Lang also spoke up. Our biggest weakness is our small numbers. If the enemy has more troops, we will be at a disadvantage in distributing our forces. Zhang Yi suggested, we can use the defensive line to withstand the first wave of attack. The young man looked out the window and continued. The surrounding areas are not empty. Behind us are two low hills forming a natural shield. With the heavy snow, the enemy cannot charge down from the mountains to ambush us. Therefore, we mainly face the enemy in front of us within an area of about 120 degrees. Zhang Yi pointed at the map, drew a line, and allocated firepower. We will concentrate our main firepower in this area. Our goal is not to defeat them, but to push them back, making them realize that we are the strongest force in the region. Zhang Yi continued, after the battle, I will negotiate with them, turning the surrounding hideouts into a no-go zone, preventing them from gaining access. At this moment, Chun-Li frowned with concern, but even when facing attacks from three sides at once, the pressure is still enormous. It seems that our first line of defense will be quickly overwhelmed, and we will have to retreat to the shelter to defend. Chun-Li continued, the current issue is that our two strongest points in defense are the refuge and the boss's space portal. But if the enemy attacks simultaneously with so many people and uses a variety of attack methods, what should we do if they find a way to breach the refuge? Chun-Li raised his hand. After all, the Yangsheng base holds a large amount of oil fuel. They could use many large-scale equipment and transport them here. The enemy might even possess mutant persons with superpowers that we are unaware of. Chun-Li's words made everyone tense. Mutant persons have always been the most unstable factor. However, after hearing this, Zhang Yi remained quite calm. These issues do not need to worry everyone. If they actually happen, I will deal with them. Zhang Yi is a proponent of peace and does not like war, but that does not mean he is not strong enough. After the Battle of the Xishan base, Zhang Yi absorbed the superpower energy of Lang Feng and four other mutant persons. The current strength level of the young man is something no one can fully comprehend. While everyone was engaged in lively discussions, Hula Ho, the cat lying next to Zhang Yi on the sofa, suddenly became alert and raised its head. Its multicolored eyes scanned outside the window, meowing several times. The cries were filled with caution. Seeing Hula Ho's serious expression, everyone felt tense and quickly turned to look outside. With the instincts of a mutated creature, Hula Ho had a much stronger intuition than humans, often detecting things that people did not notice. Outside, it was pitch black, with only a faint light glimmering on the surface of the snow. The snow was falling heavily, and the sound of the wind blowing seemed to indicate that something strange was slowly approaching through the snow. Something was getting closer. Zhang Yi did not hesitate. A golden gun appeared in his right hand. The young man quickly disengaged the safety and carried Hua Hua towards the window. The others quickly followed suit, not daring to be careless at this moment. They approached the window, and Zhang Yi took out a pair of binoculars to look outside. Eventually, the young man spotted a figure wearing a red cloak amid the snowstorm. It appeared to be an elderly person, struggling to step closer to them. Zhang Yi remained very cautious. Whoever it is should not be underestimated, even if it's an old man. In this freezing winter night, not only the elderly, but even the young wouldn't dare to go out casually. Zhang Yi speculated that this might be a mutant person, but he was unclear about what faction this person belonged to and what their intentions were. Zhang Yi was uncertain, as no second person had been detected nearby. Theoretically, this man was alone. Either he was confident in his own strength, or he believed that Zhang Yi and his group would not act against him. Whichever possibility it was, he must have a trump card. At this moment, Zhang Yi heard Uncle Wang speak, his voice filled with astonishment. I recognize him. He is the great ordinance of worship, the snow sect that I saw before at the Yu Lu apartment complex. Zhou Kai asked cautiously, Worship the snow sect? What do they want by sending someone this time? Everyone echoed that name. Worship the snow sect is one of the 4 major forces in Tianhai City at present, and it is also the most mysterious and unusual organization. Zhang Yi grew serious, unconsciously linking it to the phone conversation with Xing Tian earlier today. The King Fu base and Worship the Snow sect have no direct conflict with Zhang Yi. They are caught up due to the Yangsheng base and the Zhao Yu base. But everyone knows that without benefits, no one wants to get involved. Therefore, Xing Tian discreetly contacted Zhang Yi, hoping to avoid war as long as a sufficiently large benefit can be obtained. While Zhang Yi was deep in thought, the clear but cold voice of Yang Xin echoed from nearby. As far as I know, Worship the Snow sect and several other major forces in Tianhai City have always had an uneasy relationship. If you want to break their alliance from within, then Worship the Snow sect is the best breakthrough point. Zhang Yi set down the binoculars and said, However, I also have no good feelings towards this sect. Worship the Snow sect used to be a theological sect, famous during the period of unrestricted religion in that country, where many organizations considered heretical by Huaxia existed. They are greedy, exploitative, and cause harm to their followers, ruining their lives. It is impossible to think that such an organization suddenly becomes a savior in the apocalypse. Even the 4 great bases do not favor them, making it difficult for Zhang Yi to feel any goodwill towards them. Yang Xin smiled and said to Zhang Yi, However, if they are valuable enough to exploit, then we can consider it a bit. Zhang Yi nodded, fully agreeing with Yang Xin's words. Cooperation is not based on personal likes, but on the value that the partner brings. Therefore, he patted Chunlai on the shoulder. Chunlai, go outside and talk to him. Open the microphone. I will guide you on how to communicate with the strange old man who dares to come here alone. Zhang Yi was unclear about his superpower, so he didn't want to take risks himself. Chunlai panicked and quickly apologized to the boss. I'm the weakest among us. I'm not the right choice to go out and negotiate. Zhang Yi looked at Chunlai in the icy environment. Your abilities can be best utilized. Don't worry, you won't let him have the chance to harm you. Zhang Yi said and raised the blue gun. If he does anything strange, I will take him down immediately. Seeing Zhang Yi's determined gaze, Chun-Li had no choice but to reluctantly put on his combat gear and step out of the refuge. All right. Zhang Yi opened the communication device so he could hear the conversation between them, conveniently guiding Chun-Li on how to communicate with the opponent. The young man instructed Chun-Li before he went out. Don't let him approach the front lines. Avoid letting him discover our layout. The thick wall of ice and snow conceals a large amount of weapons. Although it is hard to see clearly due to the snowstorm, Zhang Yi did not want to take risks in any situation. Chun-Li had no choice but to step towards the outer front lines, waiting for the old man opposite, moving closer step by step. Meanwhile, the great ordinance of worship, the snow sect, slowly approached the refuge. Through the thick snow, a figure could be seen stepping out from the icy fence. Within his line of sight, he could clearly perceive the unusual aura surrounding Chun-Li. At Zhang Yi's command, Chun-Li loudly addressed the great ordinance. Stop and do not come in closer. Halt! There's no need to approach. The great ordinance smiled, bowed humbly, and said, Greetings, I see a powerful light emanating from you. You must be a strong new person. This statement excited Chun-Li, as he was often not regarded as strong in this refuge, and this was the first time he had been praised in such a manner. However, the smile on his face quickly faded as Zhang Yi instructed him to inquire about the identity and purpose of the stranger. May I ask who you are and why you are here? The great ordinance replied, I am Great Ordinance Zhao Yuding of Worship the Snow Sect. I have come here by the order of the cult leader to meet Mr. Zhang Yi. Surely you are not Mr. Zhang Yi, are you? Upon finishing his words, his gaze seemed to penetrate through space, seeing Zhang Yi hidden inside. The strong aura made him feel a trembling sensation as if he could see the dazzling sun in his own eyes. Zhang Yi frowned. This person has come seeking me. Uncle Wang reminded him. This old man seems to have the ability to see through others' giftedness. He had come looking for me before, but I declined. yet he helped Lai Jian awaken his superpower. Zhang Yi nodded. Indeed, it is a useful ability, especially when combined with the blessing capability of cult leader Yuan Kongyi. It truly is a perfect combination. Zhang Yi instructed Chun Lei to ask him why he had come here. Chun Lei looked at the Great Ordinance and said, "Our boss cannot be met at will. You can say everything you want to say here, and we can convey your words to the boss." The Great Ordinance was a bit surprised. He did not expect Zhang Yi to be so resolute in not allowing a meeting. In fact, he was not even a combat-type mutant person. Even standing in front of Zhang Yi, he did not pose a threat. However, he greatly appreciated Zhang Yi's approach. During the apocalypse, mutant persons often acted aggressively, and vigilance was always a matter of survival. The Great Ordinance said, "I have come here at the order of the cult leader, bringing important news for Mr. Zhang Yi. 3 days from now, the Yangsheng base, Zhao Yu, and King Fu will join forces to attack your refuge." Zhang Yi was not too surprised by this information. The young man had already learned the time of the attack, so it became clear why Xing Tian and the people of worship, the Snow Sect, contacted him today. They didn't have much time left for negotiation. The Great Ordinance suddenly stood up straight and said seriously, "These ruthless warlords are delusional, plotting to destroy our beautiful home. They even want to deceive my cult leader to initiate an attack against you. We, worship the Snow Sect, have always been loyal and served the divine, spreading love and peace to humanity. Therefore, we strongly oppose their proposal." Therefore, Great Ordinance looked introspectively towards the shelter, hoping to collaborate with Mr. Zhang Yi. Upon hearing Great Ordinance's words, the smile on Zhang Yi's face gradually shifted. Finally, it had arrived just as predicted with like-minded thoughts. In Tianhai City, the 4 major forces always have conflicts. There is no unity to speak of. As long as the benefits are substantial enough, they are willing to betray each other. Whether it is the King Fu base or worship the Snow Sect, both are waiting for opportunities to betray each other. Now, whoever can bring greater benefits will then be supported. Zhang Yi felt more at ease. The greater the conflicts among them, the higher Zhang Yi's chances of winning in the upcoming battle. The young man signaled Chun Lei to ask, "Are you saying that worship the Snow Sect might not participate in this attack against us?" But unexpectedly, Great Ordinance shook his head. "If that were the case, how could we call it cooperation? Worship the Snow Sect aims for love and peace, firmly opposing all malevolent forces. Therefore, our cult leader hopes to collaborate with you to jointly combat the remaining forces." At this moment, Zhang Yi's gaze became sharp. Worship the Snow Sect indeed harbored great ambitions. They even wanted to ally with him to confront other forces. Zhang Yi also heard Yang Xin mention that worship the Snow Sect constantly conflicts with other forces, perpetually experiencing disputes. If they have the opportunity to attack other forces, they would certainly not miss it. "We worship the Snow Sect just like you, lack of background and support. The other forces all fear our rise. We are the same as you, oppressed by other forces, impacting our survival needs. We should unite against the dominance of those forces." Zhang Yi spoke to Chun Lei, asking them what they needed to do to prove their sincerity if they wanted to cooperate. Great Ordinance smiled upon hearing the question. "Our cult leader knows that Mr. Zhang Yi is a careful person. Without substantial evidence of our sincerity, it would be impossible to make him trust the sincerity of worship the Snow Sect. Therefore, I have come here this time to present to you a sacred item of worship the Snow Sect. Surely, you will understand our intention." Great Ordinance said this and took out a small wooden box from his person, handing it to Chun Lei. "This is the sacred item of worship the Snow Sect, Ice Beat." Chun Lei, fearing danger, did not dare to accept it. Zhang Yi asked him what this toy was used for. The name sounded mysterious, but no one knew the function of this toy. After Chun Lei asked, Great Ordinance laughed and replied, "The function of the Ice Beat is very simple. It can help people unlock their spiritual power, turning them into mutant persons. Furthermore, for mutant persons, it can deeply tap into their potential, making them even stronger. Mr. Zhang Yi, I remember you have been in Tianhai City for quite a while. You must have heard about this, right?" A look of surprise flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. Could this be a miraculous ability like that of Yuan Kongyi? The young man recalled Lai Jian had once said that the so-called Ice Beat was a white block resembling snow, a kind of soft body. Just by placing it on someone's forehead, it could help them gain superpower. Great Ordinance had once advised Uncle Wang, but he had refused. Zhang Yi wore a sinister smile. "Ha ha! Do you expect me to believe this? Zhang Yi never believes that there is a free meal in this world. Using an object to gain superpower is certainly not a normal matter. Do you think I will believe in your diabolical claims? This so-called Ice Beat, is there anything about it that hasn't been discovered yet? Chun Lei, please convey my thoughts to him." Chun Lei quickly relayed Zhang Yi's thoughts. The Great Ordinance remained calm and smiled. He seemed to have anticipated that Zhang Yi would be suspicious. Ice beat is a sacred object, and it definitely has no side effects. I can assure you of this, as you are not the first person to receive ice beat. Previously, all 4 bases in Tianhai City had requested us to supply it. They have all verified it. Do you still not trust us? This statement left Zhang Yi astonished. What? All 4 bases have used it. Zhang Yi was unsure whether the Great Ordinance was telling the truth or lying, so he asked Yang Xin. Xin, check the documents. Yang Xin took out her laptop and quickly researched. Indeed, she found information related to Ice Beat. There was actual information about this. A group of first mutant persons from Xaishan base, among whom 2 awakened superpower thanks to Ice Beat. It was this method of awakening superpower that led them to start researching human transformation. Yang Xin suddenly stopped speaking, looking surprised. According to the report from the Xaishan base, this Ice Beat seems to originate from cells in the human body. Zhang Yi immediately understood the significance of this information. What is called Ice Beat is essentially the cells of Yon Kong Yi. One cannot blame the Xaishan base for previously implanting Lang Feng's cells into others, creating this modified toy. Zhang Yi asked cautiously, "Does this thing have side effects?" Yang Xin replied, "According to the records, all 4 major bases have experimented with the Ice Beat from the Worship the Snow sect to create mutant persons. They studied these cells and found no harmful substances. They could not manipulate the implanted individuals through the cells. The Worship the Snow sect has developed to its current scale largely thanks to the use of Ice Beat to exchange for living space." Yang Xin sighed. If this record is true, that Ice Beat must be something good. Zhang Yi looked out the window, silently contemplating. Something good? It can transform ordinary people into mutant persons without risk of death, or help mutant persons unleash their potential. No, the young man does not believe in such good things. Even if it truly exists, there would certainly be side effects. And even without side effects, Zhang Yi wouldn't dare use it, because the young man always judges everything unclear with the deepest skepticism. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes and coldly asked, "Ask him if this toy can be used on ordinary people?" The young man thought to himself, "I also don't believe there is such a good thing, and even if there truly is, it will definitely have side effects." After Chunlei asked, Great Ordinance provided an answer. "Its effectiveness depends on the potential of each individual, so it varies. We have tested it and found that when used on normal people, it only produces weak effects. But it can certainly provide some extraordinary abilities, so using it on a mutant person is the most suitable." Zhang Yi hesitated and then immediately replied, "Fine, since you brought this from afar, I will accept it. Chunlei, take it. I will consider how to use it later." Great Ordinance did not hesitate and handed the item to Chunlei. Seeing Great Ordinance act casually, Chunlei boldly asked, "Aren't you afraid we will refuse to cooperate with you?" "I mean, are you being a bit too generous?" Great Ordinance smiled mischievously. "After all, the major forces uniting to attack us cannot change the outcome. Even if we cannot cooperate, making you stronger to kill more enemies is also beneficial for us. For us, there's no loss." Chunlei thought to himself, "This old man really knows how to calculate." Zhang Yi continued to ask, "I understand that you want to use us to weaken other bases, but what is your purpose in cooperating? Clearly, you didn't come just to demand benefits." Great Ordinance continued, "At that time, we will pretend to attack your hideout together with them. Of course, we will dispatch troops, but not exert any force nearby, creating a facade of an attack. However, once they reveal a flaw, we will stab them in the back." After hearing Great Ordinance's words, Zhang Yi thought to himself, "Indeed, a group of conspirators. Worship the Snow sect is truly calculating to the extreme." This statement made it seem as if they were standing on the sidelines, waiting for Zhang Yi and the other factions to battle fiercely before jumping in to reap the benefits. Furthermore, whether they actually attacked or not would depend on how Zhang Yi and his group's forces performed. If Zhang Yi and his team were quickly defeated by the Alliance, Worship the Snow sect would pretend to be oblivious. This plan indeed resembled a scheme, sitting back to benefit without any risk, and Zhang Yi had no way to refuse. Because compared to a certain enemy, a possible ally capable of providing assistance is the better choice. Thinking of this, Zhang Yi said, "I understand. If that item truly has an effect, I will agree to your proposal." Zhang Yi decided to test the effectiveness of Ice Beat before making a decision. Great Ordinance smiled. "I am sure you will be very hopeful. We have shown our goodwill. Mr. Zhang Yi should also demonstrate a bit of goodwill, right?" Zhang Yi coldly asked in return, "We are currently locked in the toughest battle. What more do you want?" Great Ordinance waved his hand hurriedly. "You misunderstand our intentions. We do not need anything from you. We only hope that you can agree to allow the worship of the Snow sect to spread its teachings in your territory after we win this battle. For the worship of the snow sect, attracting as many followers under the light of the snow god is something we have always desired. Zhang Yi thought to himself, evangelism really fits the style of a heretical sect. Isn't it just about attracting more people? Zhang Yi had no opinion on this matter. The young man was only concerned about not harming his own interests. Zhang Yi was indifferent to other issues. His philosophy of life was to worry less about the affairs of others. Moreover, with Zhang Yi's character, he had no time to care about Taishan, Lujiang, and other regions. Therefore, the young man said, as long as we can successfully repel the enemy, any conditions you propose are not a problem. Great Ordnance was very pleased. Then we will wait for your answer. At this moment, Zhang Yi understood more clearly. Initially, the young man thought that after defeating the Taishan base, it would easily become the target of other forces. But now, everything seemed to revolve around him, causing other forces to conflict with one another. The Qingfu base was cautious and not in a hurry to expand. This was related to their leader, a conservative steelworker. The worship of the Snow sect, though small, had great potential for development and ambition. Zhao Yu and the Yangsheng base were eager to expand, while the intentions of other forces remained uncertain. Zhang Yi thought to himself, currently, the Qingfu base maintains a neutral stance. There is a chance to keep them from interfering. The worship of the Snow sect wants to cooperate with me to betray other forces. Zhang Yi smiled enigmatically. The situation was becoming more and more interesting. Although the young man did not fully trust these two forces as long as reasonable benefits could entice them to betray Zhao Yu and Yang Sheng, it wouldn't be too difficult. At that time, it would not be the allied forces that surrounded and attacked Zhang Yi, but Zhang Yi, who would take the initiative to strike, collaborating with internal allies to deliver a strong blow to them. However, what Zhang Yi found most interesting at the moment were the two ice beats. Chun-Li asked, Brother Zhang, how do we handle this thing? Chun-Li held the small wooden box with a hint of worry, fearing that it contained a bomb. Zhang Yi said, don't worry, just bring it here. Chun-Li carefully brought the wooden box to the door. Zhang Yi then stored it in the superpower space. Whether it was spying equipment or explosives, it could be handled well in the superpower space. The young man only saw two white spherical crystals emitting a cold aura, occasionally shifting gently. After confirming everything, Zhang Yi opened the wooden box to inspect it and found no abnormalities. Zhang Yi observed and contemplated. Is this really the ice beat? This item had been used by the 4 major bases, which meant it was stable and reliable. The 4 great bases were not fools. If it had side effects, they wouldn't use it. Zhang Yi had also seen Lai Jian use it, and afterward, no unusual situations had appeared. Could it be that Yuan Kong Yi's ice beat was really just the key to unlocking superpower? Zhang Yi murmured for a while and then suddenly burst out laughing. What a joke, I don't believe there is anything this good in the world. In his heart, Zhang Yi still wasn't completely convinced. If it were just the people from the 4 great bases using it, that would be one thing, but the problem was that the Great Ordnance had used it on Lai Jian. In this apocalyptic world, everyone felt uneasy. People were considering ways to become stronger to protect themselves. Is there anyone who is truly selfless enough to help others? Who is altruistic enough to help others? But given the nature of the worship of the Snow sect, Zhang Yi couldn't trust them. Even if you were genuinely kind and wanted to bless the world, I still wouldn't believe it. Zhang Yi always adhered to a simple principle. Except for himself, he should always doubt everyone and everything. He also never wanted to take risks. However, the temptation of 2 ice beats that could create 2 mutant persons was too great for him to ignore. While Zhang Yi was deep in thought, the burning gazes of everyone focused on him. Zhang Yi felt the atmosphere around him change and couldn't help but look up. He saw Zhou Kai Ni, Yang Mai, and Liu Kei Ran all looking at him with eager eyes. The conversation between Zhang Yi and Chun-Li had been heard by everyone, and they also knew about the existence of the ice beats. The 3 women lacked superpowers, so they could only do logistical work, especially Yang Mai, whose desire was the most obvious. Compared to the other girls, she had less utility. At present, she was almost just a homemaker, managing household affairs and helping Zhang Yi relieve pressure. She really wanted to obtain the ice beat to become a nude person. Yang Xin, though an ordinary person, appeared quite calm, showing no change in her gaze. With Yang Xin's intelligence, she could naturally guess that the ice beats might contain side effects. The members couldn't hide their curiosity. Yang Mai was the first to speak up. Zhang Yi, should we use the ice beats? Her question reflected her caution and insecurity. Such a good thing made her worry that she might not be worthy of using it. Zhang Yi looked at them, and he actually had an intention in mind. It would be a pity not to use the ice beats, but he was not confident about using it on his important friends. Therefore, he needed someone to experiment with. Zhang Yi returned to the sofa and sat down slowly. Everyone else also sat down, wanting to see what plan he had. First was the handling of the ice beats, and second was the next combat plan. After all, according to the Great Ordinance, the Alliance would come to attack in 3 days. Zhang Yi saw the eager eyes of the women and decided to first address the ice beats issue. He calmly said, "You all just heard the ice beats can help ordinary people awaken superpowers. The 4 great bases have used it before. Currently, no one has discovered any side effects, but I am still not at ease about it. I never believe that a plate of cake will fall from the sky right in front of me." Zhang Yi finished speaking, his gaze sweeping over everyone in the room. The mutant persons of the group didn't care much about the ice beat. They already had abilities and lived relatively stable lives in the refuge, not really longing to become stronger. Therefore, they weren't very interested in an ice beat with possible side effects. Aside from Yang Sin, the regular people all expressed a strong desire. Even ordinary people would want to become mutant persons and possess extraordinary abilities in the apocalypse. The more power one has, the higher the chance of survival. Zhang Yi looked at them and said, "You need to think carefully. I will only use one of these 2 ice beats. To clarify, the first person to use it would be the test subject. If anyone wants to try, please raise your hand." Upon hearing Zhang Yi, the expressions of the women showed hesitation. They craved superpowers, but didn't want to face uncertain risks. However, Yang Mai decisively raised her hand. "I am willing to take the test." A determined light flickered in her eyes. As a woman who wanted to be strong, she didn't want to be just a worthless figure. When Yang Mai raised her hand, Zhou Kai Nei quickly followed suit. Zhao Haimei, despite appearing hesitant, also raised her hand. Zhang Yi nodded and smiled at Yang Mai. Her resolve was very strong. Thus, I decided to let her use 1 ice beat. Yang Mai, with her eyes full of joyful excitement, tightly embraced Zhang Yi's neck. "Thank you so much, Zhang Yi. Thank you for giving me such a great opportunity." Zhang Yi looked at her intently. "You're silly. My love for you is as deep as the ocean. Who else could I care for if not for you?" Although he said this, Zhang Yi thought differently in his heart. But one he truly deemed suitable had already been identified and was definitely Yang Mai. Firstly, if considered as an experiment, that person must be the least influential. If an unexpected event occurs, the damage would not affect the normal operation of the refuge. In this regard, the only candidates in the team are Yang Mai and Zhao Haimei. Zhao Kai-Nate is a doctor, and Liu Keiran is a key technical staff member. They cannot participate in the experiment. Secondly, this person needs to be easily controlled, as Zhang Yi is also uncertain about what effects the ice beat will produce after use. If there are no side effects, it would be a waste of effort to create a new person. Therefore, that person must be someone he can control. Considering both factors, Yang Mai is definitely the most suitable choice. Yang Mai can actively step forward to accept, which would not waste any of Zhang Yi's efforts. Zhang Yi asked Yang Mai to sit down, then he discussed the next strategy with everyone. The current situation has changed, both bases can be exploited. He said, "My viewpoint is that we should temporarily forget about leveraging these 2 forces. We cannot trust any of them, as they might come just to deceive us and are highly likely to betray us. Therefore, we still need to prepare well to face the forces from all 4 directions. But if any incidents occur on sight," Zhang Yi smiled slyly, crossed his arms over his chest, and said suggestively, "Our shelter will become their grave." The battle plan did not change much, only adding the ability to adapt flexibly. It is necessary to consider that the 2 forces may become an uncertain factor and no loophole can be overlooked. After the discussion, what everyone was most looking forward to was using Ice Beat on Yang Mai. Everyone was curious about its miraculous effects and how to use it. The method of use was quite simple. According to the Great Ordinance's instructions before leaving, one just needed to place it on the forehead. It would automatically integrate into the owner's body. For safety reasons, Zhang Yi chose a sturdy room and then restrained Yang Mai on the bed to conduct the experiment. Yang Mai appeared eager and tense. She was so excited that her whole body trembled lightly, waiting for the turning point of her fate. Zhang Yi held the clamp and gently placed an ice bead on Yang Mai's forehead. Everyone held their breath, tense yet full of anticipation, observing the scene before them. When the ice bead touched her skin, delicate curves appeared like tentacles sticking to her head. Moments later, everyone witnessed the ice bead melt like snow into Yang Mai's head. It was a phenomenon of integration as the cells completely merged with the person's body. Yang Mai's gaze became vacant, losing focus. The entire process happened quickly. In less than 2 seconds, the ice bead had fully integrated into her head, leaving only a white streak on her forehead. The shimmering light then disappeared, her face revealing signs of exhaustion, and she quickly fell into a deep sleep. Zhang Yi said to everyone, "Next, we need to observe her transformation. Let's step outside first. The room has a surveillance system and walls made of alloy. Any unexpected incident can be dealt with promptly. The effect of this so-called ice beat will soon be known to Zhang Yi. He instructed everyone to remain vigilant in the coming days as the great ordinance regarding an attack in 3 days could be a ruse. Currently, no one can be trusted, and a large military force could attack tonight. Everyone knew that this war should not be taken lightly, so they returned to prepare. However, the preparation was merely a review of what had been previously arranged. After everyone left, Zhang Yi called Zhao Kai-Ni back. Kai-Ni, you are in charge of monitoring Yang Mai in case she shows any abnormalities. Make sure to administer a muscle relaxant and a certain sedative to her. Zhao Kai-Ni nodded. Okay, I will go get the medicine right away. Her expression became sad, as if she felt a bit jealous and dissatisfied. Zhang Yi couldn't help but smile. He understood why Zhou Kai-Ni was not happy, because he had decided to use Ice Beat for Yang Mai instead of her. He took Zhao Kai-Ni's hand and gently stroked her cheek. Silly girl, do you really think that my not letting you use Ice Beat means I care about her more? On the contrary, it's because I care about you more. My feelings for you are as long as the Great Wall. I'm worried that Ice Beat might have side effects, which is why I didn't let you use it. Don't you understand my heart? Zhou Kai-Ni looked at Zhang Yi in surprise. So that's how you think? Zhang Yi held her hand and said with a smile, never trust something given by a stranger. In the apocalypse, any carelessness can be deadly. You are an incredibly important doctor in our team. With your abilities, you are even more crucial than a mute person. But Yang Mai is different. She has to risk everything to prove her worth. That's why I chose Ice Beat for her. Do you understand what I mean now? After hearing Zhang Yi's explanation, Zhou Kai-Ni finally understood his dilemma. She felt warm inside, realizing that Zhang Yi didn't let her use Ice Beat because he valued her abilities and wanted to protect her. Zhou Kai-Ni pursed her lips and accepted Zhang Yi's explanation. Oh, I understand now, and she went to the medical room to prepare the medicine obediently.